Simmons of Blossom Revenue Cycle Solutions, and today we are covering at Medical Billing Bits and Bytes, ways that the insurance carrier denies your claims. So today what I want to cover is flagged diagnoses and procedure codes. So insurance carriers typically flag certain procedure codes and diagnoses like anything where a bone is broken, there is a bruise or contusion, concussions, and other high dollar procedures done, anything that may seem like the patient had an accident or someone else would be responsible for the services, even sporting accidents. The reason why they flag these diagnosis codes is because they want to be able to deny a claim and say, well, someone else is responsible for payment of this service. And they don't have to have proof that someone else is responsible for payment of these services. All they need to do is suspect that someone is responsible for payment of these services. And they will not pay until they get that proof from either the patient or the provider. 9 times out of 10 is from the patient. They will send you a letter in the mail that questions you about the accident or the services that you had rendered and why you came in to see the provider for these services. I've gotten those letters myself several times because I've sprained my ankle severely on 1 or 2 occasions and also popped my knees out of place. So I always get these letters asking, is this a workman's comp accident? Is this due to an MVA accident? Is someone else responsible for the services rendered? And there could be other entities responsible for the service rendered outside of a MVA or a workman's comp. Like it could be a homeowner's insurance that's responsible. Maybe you were doing work on your home and you fell and hurt yourself. In that case, the insurance can deny your claim and have you open a claim with your homeowner's insurance. This doesn't go for every state, but in the state I was working in where I found a lot of issues like this was it was like against the law to not have homeowners insurance. And for the organization that I was working for, they commonly had people who worked in construction, who had construction businesses, and did work on people's homes. And this is one of the reasons why you should always make sure that you hire a licensed and bonded person to work on your home, whether it be a plumber, an electrician, a roofer, always, because they will have their own workman's comp insurance. That means if they fall off the roof, if they electrocute themselves, if they break a finger doing your plumbing, anything, they will go through their workman's comp through their employer or their business before they will choose to sue your homeowner's insurance. So if the person does not have insurance, they're not licensed or bonded, you're taking a big risk because they can sue your homeowner's insurance if they hurt themselves. Other ways that insurances like to deny claims in order not to pay is they will deny it for medical necessity. And you will have to prove to the insurance carrier that the services rendered were medically necessary. And that means that you have to make sure that the provider you are working for is very good at dictating and taking and notating the services that were rendered in the notes and supporting documentation. Medical insurances they basically track you. They track you, they track you like you're an algorithm, really. They track providers, they know who's following up on their claims, and they know who's not following up on their claims. So a lot of times they'll deny first before they'll pay, because if you're a provider you're too overwhelmed, you don't have the knowledge, and you just haven't taken the time to either hire a knowledgeable biller or a vendor or a billing service to help you manage your denials and where your money in AR is sitting every month, insurance carriers will deny and take advantage of that for you. And you're not appealing anything. They can tell when you're not appealing anything, or even if you're not even making phone calls, they know. They pull reports and they say, well, how much money did we save this year? And which providers were those providers that we saved money on? So they know, just like you should be tracking your AR that's coming in and where your AR is sitting, insurances are doing the same thing. So it's very important that when you have insurances that are constantly denying and trying not to pay your services, that you have someone that is very professional and also tenacious in a way that makes sure that they follow up on your money. And it's not really about how much you can bring to that organization, because some companies, they bring on smaller organizations, smaller provider practices, and promise them that they can follow up on their AR. But once they realize that the provider's AR is too small, they really don't stand up to par, and they can't help the provider the way that they want to, because their services are based on a percentage of the funds coming in to that particular vendor's business. This is why it's important for providers to understand the difference between a bigger revenue cycle management organization and a medical billing revenue cycle service provider, where we work with smaller providers to help them manage their medical billing. And when I say smaller, I mean practices that are no larger than 10 providers. And some providers have multiple practices. So I would say something that's not more than 3 to 6 practices. And anything bigger than that, a lot of them kind of try to get with the larger revenue cycle vendors. But a lot of these vendors, they like to look at the numbers, how much money they can bring in. And sometimes they over promise and they take on too many contracts, and people find that their services aren't being followed up on like this particular vendor promised it would. So it's important that a provider really investigates the billing services or vendor that they want to hire to help them keep track of their AR. You need to have someone that is really experienced and well-rounded and knowledgeable in revenue cycle management and medical billing to help make sure that you maximize your services that you are billing out, and to also help you with maximizing your self-pay revenue cycle, and making sure that they are friendly with your patients and not seeming like they are not going to work with your patients. Patients they need to understand what they are paying for. And if they don't understand what they're paying for, it becomes an issue for them. And I understand that. You want to know what you're paying for. You want to make sure that you're not overpaying for services rendered. So having someone who is understanding of how the patient feels and willing to work with them, whether it's even a payment plan or financial counseling. Some patients just need financial counseling. They need to understand what their insurance pays for and what it doesn't. They want to understand their deductibles, their out of pockets, and their co-payments and things like that. And I think all providers should have that type of service offered to their patients, because it helps to calm the patient, and it also creates a sense of community and caring for the patient. Because if you're willing to take the time to sit down with the patient and help them to understand their insurance, that goes hand in hand with the care that you're rendering your patient. It really does. And I hope I dropped some good little tidbits in there for you. And once again, this is Ruby Sivens of Blossom Revenue Cycle Solutions. Please rate, subscribe, and like, and share it with whom you think this might help. I will be doing more of these videos in the future. And I wish you guys a safe and happy day and have a good day. Bye.